Recording has started. So, in our last class, that was yesterday's class, I gave us an assignment on calculator. How many of us attempted it? So the way to learn JavaScript is to practice, practice, practice. So let's do that together. Then when we are done with it, we go to tonight's topic, which is parameterized function. But before then, let's do yesterday's assignments together. So I will delete everything here. Hope you can see my screen. Hello. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what to build calculator? Let's first do the interface. For the interface, I'll just speed it up so that we won't waste time there.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Okay, can I present the one I did?
Yes, ma. That's nice.
Okay,
Nice.
sir.
Let me stop presenting. Wow. Please do, ma. Can you see a beautiful calculator? Good. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Lost Baker, I'm so impressed. Well done. Okay. So let's do the only one person did it. She was also the only person that did the assignment I gave us.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. So she was also the only one that did the assignment I gave us 2 days back. This one I gave us assignment. I actually want us to do it. So I'll just launch to the interface. Let's check this on the browser and see how it looks like. Okay, let's make it better. Let's add border to it. I'm doing this because I'm not explaining because this is JavaScript session, so I'm just rushing to the HTML and CSS part of it. Okay. Someone wants to join. So, border. You can set the border to be 1 pixel. Let's see if it's fine enough. Okay, let's make it. Okay. So let's manage this. So when we type anything here, we want to put it inside this place. Let's start. So what you're going to do is this. When I press 1, I want to display the one inside this TD. So the first is I can give this an ID called result. So when I click on this, I will display this one inside this result. On click, I can call display one. So let's get a function called display one. So I want it to display one inside this, inside that TD, and the ID is result. So we can say result dot inner text equals 1. So let's see how this works. When I click on 1, it displays 1 there. So let's see 2. When I click on 2, someone wants to join. So when I click on 2, I want to display 2 there. So I'll just come here, copy, change this to, oops, what am I doing? So this becomes display 2. This is display 3. So let's see something there. Let's create the function display 2 and display 3 so that we can quickly fix something together. Notice something. If I click on 1, 1 is there. But when I click on 2, this 2 replaces the 1. Oh. 2, 3. So when I click on 1, 1 is display. When I click on 2, the 2 replaces the 1. And that's not what we want. We want it to add it with whatever might be on the screen. So what you are going to do is this. What is equal to says that whenever you call on this function, display 2 on the screen. So this 2 will replace whatever might be there. If you don't get what is going on, let me quickly explain something. Let's say I have a div here, and this div has an ID called display. If I come to my JavaScript and I say display dot inner text equals to 5, and I go to the next line and say display dot inner text equals to 8. When we get to the screen, when we get to our browser, you will only see 8. You won't see 5 there. That's because initially you first put 5, but when it gets to this line, this 8 will replace the 5. And that's what is actually going on here too. When you click on the first button and you call on this function, it will put 1 there. But when you call on this second function, this 2 will replace whatever might be there initially. That's what's going on here. Do we understand? Or do we have any question? Okay, let's move on. So let's fix that together. So what we are going to say is this. We now say get whatever might be inside there initially, then concatenate one to it. So we can do it like this. So what this means is get whatever might be inside inner text initially, then concatenate one to it. Same thing here. Concatenate to. Now this is a string. Why this is a number? So it's going to concatenate. Remember I told us yesterday that when you have a string and a number, JavaScript concatenates. I told you that whatever you get is inner text, inner HTML or value, we always come as a string. So what you are doing here is get the initial value, whatever might be there initially, then concatenate this to it. We can do the same thing here. So now I can now type this, see it's concatenating them together. That's what we want it to do. So let's do the same thing for the rest. Please, if you have any question, let me know. Okay, let's do this. Six. Sorry. Display form. Oops. Okay. Display plus. So let's start from this. We will say concatenate plus to it. Concatenate multiplication to it. Concatenate division to it. Concatenate minus to it. Oh, I think we have display plus twice. Concatenate 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Now, well, we are repeating this. After tonight's class, we will improve these codes. So let's call on them here and click. Oops. Hope you are following me.
Yes.
Okay. Please, if you have any question with this, let me know. definition. I just put maybe okay. Display plus display. Okay, I think we are cool now. Now remaining these two. For this, we can say one click clear everything. So we can get a function called clear all. So what this is going to do is when we call on it is to clear everything. So let's get a function called clear all. So for that clear all, we will say result dot just support to set it as empty string. So immediately set it to empty string, it's the same as clearing everything. Then lastly, we come back to this and this equal sign. Those are the two that we're going to come back to. Let's see if every other thing is working. 1, 2, let's say -7. Okay, good. So delete, is it working? Good, it's working. Okay, good, it's working. So let's work on this. This we remove the last character. That's what we want to do. We want to use this to remove the last character. Let's assume I mistakenly typed 6 instead of 5. I want to remove this 6. So we can say, we can create a function called maybe remove last. Function remove last. So we go to the function called remove last, and what this function is going to do is it will remove the last character. So remember, we are removing the last character. Sorry, someone wants to join. So what you are doing is you are removing the last character inside this result dot inner text. So we say result dot inner text equals to. Now there's an inbuilt function in JavaScript called slice. When you call on slice, let's say, let me give an example to us. Let me use this terminal so that I won't go to. So let's assume I have a string. Let's say I have Taye here as a string. If I say Taye.slice, so the first one is my starting point. I can say JavaScript start counting as 0. This T is at position 0. A is at position 1. 1 is at position. Y is at position 2. E is at position 3. I come again. This T is at position 0. A is at position 1. Y is at position 2. And E is at position 3. So I can say start from position 0 and end at position 0, 1, 2, 2. So it's starting from 0 and it's ending at position 2. But the thing is, this 2 is non-inclusive. The first one is inclusive, the second one is non-inclusive. It's going to start from 0 and it will end at 2, but it's not going to include the 2 itself. I come again. This is T is 0, A is 1, Y is 2. It will start at 0 and end at 2, but it's not going to include the character that is at index 2. That is why it's not including Y. If I say, comma 1, we only have T. Start at 0 and end at 1, but don't include the character at 1. So what I want to do is this. I want you to remove the last character. Now you can start reading from the back. If you're reading from the back, this E, the last character is at -1. This Y is at -2. This A is at -3. This T is at -4. I come again. When you are starting from the back, this E will be -1. This is -2. This is -3. This is -4. So I can say -1. So with this now, you successfully remove the last character. You might ask that why not just write 0,3 instead of using -1? And of course, we still get the same result, at least for now. Why not just write 0,3? Of course, by writing 0,3, we have TAY and it's giving us the same results. Remember, E is at position 3. We call it index. E is at index 3. So and this is non-inclusive, so we have T, A, Y. But the reason we can't use this approach is this. Imagine this text is longer than this. Imagine, let me use my surname. Now, with this now, this can no longer work with it. That's because the index 3 now, by putting 3 here, it only removed this 3. And others are now wastes. That's not what we want. We only want you to remove this n. So putting -1 will work irrespective of the length of the character. Irrespective of how long it might be. This -1 we just remove the last character. So when we have a string and you say does slice, this first number you're going to put here will be your starting point, and this second one is non-inclusive, which is your ending point. This is inclusive, while this is non-inclusive. Okay, ask your question. Then
please, why is slice a hidden command in Java?
It's not an hidden command. Slice is used to remove character. It's not an hidden command.
Okay. So can the ending be 0?
You said?
Can the ending be 0?
Okay, the last one, this here, then it's not going to slice anything. Because you are saying start at 0 and end at 0. And remember, it won't include the character here. So it's not going to slice anything. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's now use this in our code. We come here and say results dot inner text dot slice 0, -1. So this is going to remove the last character for you. Let's go to the browser and see the results now. So let's assume I mistakenly typed 4 and I want to remove it. I can press this. It's not working. Let's see why it's not working. Result dot inner text dot slice. Okay. Let's my value equals to result.inner texts. I can save this as a variable. Then I can now say my value.slice. Then this should give us our results now. That's a we made mistake. Still now. Oh, we are here to attach it to this C. Where is the C? C. Let's see on the screen. Where is it? I'm looking for this after 0 C deletes. Okay, 0. Okay, this is the C. We are here to attach it to this place. And click. Remove last. Capital letter L. Okay. So this one it wasn't okay. Remove, good, remove, good, remove. So finally, let's work on this equal sign. What we want this to do is to evaluate whatever is on the screen and give us the results. So there's an inbuilt command in JavaScript called eval. Eval function is used to evaluate things. So if I go, let me run it so that you see it. If I say eval 5 plus 7, to evaluate it and give me the result. Eval. Now the advantage of eval is that even if it's a string, it will still evaluate it as perfectly. Even if this is a string, it will still evaluate it as mathematical expression. It will still give me 12. That's the advantage of eval. So even though it's a string, it will still work. So let's use that. Where's the equal sign? I can say on click eval or display eval, something like that. Display eval. So let's create a function called display eval. Function display eval equals to this. So you can say results dot inner text equals to evaluate whatever might be inside that place. Evaluate results dot inner texts, and this is going to give us our results. So let's run it. 1 plus 8 minus maybe 4, that is 9 minus 4, that's 5, equals to 5. Good. Divided by, let's say, 4. Good. So our calculator is working fine. Any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
So why is it compulsory to? Sorry, I'm still not. Why is it compulsory to declare the variable?
No,
When there was a mistake when you were trying to explain the clear.
okay, no blast. It will still work even though it's here like this. It will still. You still have the same results. Oh, so I don't need to put that value again. This will still give us our results. So this remove last, we remove the last character, it will still work.
Oh, okay.
Any other question? Okay, so let's go to today's topic. Today we want to look at parameterized function. And in fact, you can see all the functions there. How many functions do we have there? Plenty of them. When we are done with parameterized function, we are going to reduce this to maybe few functions, maybe 3 or so, all of them. So I told us yesterday that a parameterized function is like a super function. Let me create a new file to do that, to explain that. I can call it maybe test.html. So this is the file we're going to use for this session. So I told you that when you realize that one or two functions or more are doing similar things, then you should start thinking about using parameterized function. Look at this for an example. This is doing something similar to this, something similar to this. In fact, most of these functions are doing almost the same thing. This plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, they are doing almost the same thing. They are doing similar things. So we can make use of parameterized function to do this. So a parameterized function is like a super function that enables a single function to do the work of numerous functions. So let me give an example. Let's say I have two functions and two buttons too. So this is the first button and this is the second button. So when I click on the first button, I want it to alert 1. I'll click equals to maybe colon first, function first. Then let's get function first together. Function. So we can say alert maybe 1 times 5. Function second, we alert 2 times 5. Second. So let's get the function second together. Alert 2 times 5. So when you click on the first one, it will alert 5. When you click on the second one, it will alert 10. Now you will agree with me that they are doing similar things. So what we want to do is, instead of creating two functions, I want to create a single function such that when I click on this first button, it will call on first. When I click on second, it will also call on first. I come again. When I click on this, it will call on first. When I click on second, it will still call on first. But this one will display 5, and I want this one to display 10. That's what we want to do now. When you click on this will display 5. When you click on this will display 10. Although the way it is presently is that if I click on any of them, it will display 5. So we want to improve it a bit, such that a single function will be doing the work of 2 functions. Now, since when I click on this, I want it to display 5. And when I click on this, I want it to display 10. You will agree with me that somehow Java must equip our JavaScript enough with information such that it's going to know the one we are clicking on. Because if it doesn't know the one we are clicking on among these two, there is no way to know what to display. I come again. We must write our code in such a way that it will know that, oh, you clicked on 5 first, so I should display 1 times 5. And when we click on second, it will know that, oh, you clicked on second, I should display 2 times 5. So it must be sensitive enough to know the one you click on. How do we now do that? How do we make this function know that you clicked on this or you click on this? So what you are going to do is this. Whenever you are calling on that function, that button will send a message to this function. I come again. The button will send a message to this function. So I can come here and send a message 1. So when you click on the first one, this one will be sent to this function. And when you click on this can send message, this can send 2. When you click on this 2 can be sent to this function. So that way, the function will now know that, oh, since you are sending 1, I know what to do. And when you send 2, I know what to do. When you send 1, it must know what to do. And when you send 2, oh, it knows what to do. But unfortunately, although you are sending messages to this function, the function is not equipped enough to receive the message. Although when you click on this, 1 will be sent to this function, but this function is not yet equipped enough to receive the message you are sending to it. So what you need to do is you put a variable here. You can call it any name of your choice. But whatever name you are giving to it must follow the rules that guide variable declaration. I can call it var. I can call it none. But I can give it any name of my choice. But whatever name I give it must follow all the rules that guide our variable declaration. So with the way it is now is that when you click on this, 1 will be sent to num. The value of num will be 1. And when you click on this, the value of num will be 2. Do you have any questions so far? Hope you are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, to start with, let's just alert num alone. Let's say ignore that. Let's just alert num. So when you click on this, value of num will be 1, and it will alert num. So it will alert 1. Then when you click on this, the value of num will be 2, and it will alert 2. Let's go to the browser and see it. Oh, it's a different file. Sorry. We go to this place. Oh, test, not txt, test. Okay, so we have 1 and we have 2. So we can now say alert num times 5. So when you click on this, it will alert 5, and when you click on this, it will alert 10, because the value of num will be 2. So the first one will now alert 1 times 5, while the second one will alert 2 times 5. Any question before we proceed? Okay. In answers of question, I want to show us that you can send more than 1. You can send as much as you want. So let's say I have 8 here, and let's say I have 4 here. Now, your function, when you click on this, these 2 values will be sent to your function. But your function is only equipped enough to receive 1 of them. It's not equipped enough to receive the second one. So when I click on this, 1 will be sent as a value of num, but this 8 will be a waste. So let's equip this function so that it can receive the 2. I can call it maybe var or something. So I can now say num times var. So when I click on this, 1 will be sent as the value of num and 8 will be sent as the value of var. And when I click on this, 2 will be sent as the value of num and 4 will be sent as the value of var. So for the first one, it will allow 1 times 8, and for the second one, it will allow 2 times 4. Now the two of them will give us 8 because 1 times 8 is 8 and 2 times 4 is 8. So let's change this value so that we'll be able to differentiate them. So I can use 6. So this is 1 times 8 and this is 2 times 6, which is 12. It's 12. So this is how parameterized function works. Now let's now talk about the difference between parameter and argument. What you have here, this num and var, they are not called variable. Really, I only use variable because you can easily relate to that. They are actually called parameters. Whatever you put here, they are known as parameters. Why these values that you are sending to them, they are known as arguments. These ones are arguments. These ones are arguments. Why these ones are known as parameters? So these are parameters and these are arguments. So you send arguments to become the value of parameters. So let's look at how we can now use this parameterized function to improve these codes. Let's do that together. So now I will delete most of the functions here and retain one. Now I can delete all of this. So we'll use a single function to do the work of that. So we can say display maybe var. So let's use this display var to do the work of everything. We can come here and say display var. So this will send 1, this will send 2. Display var 4, 5, 6. Seven, 8, plus okay. What else? So when you click on any of them, each of these TD, we send a value to this function, display var. So let's receive the message we are sending. I can call it var. So instead of saying +1, it now becomes plus var. So we still achieve the same results. But our code is now shorter. So let's go to the browser and see if everything is working fine. Oh. We change this back to index. Let me open it in another tab. Okay. So is this still working? Yes, it's still working. Minus is not displaying. Let's see what's wrong with minus. Oh, this is small letter V. Okay. Go back to the browser now. Let's see, is our minus working now? Yes. So everything is working fine. So we see now you can use parameterized function to shorten your quote. Any question before we proceed? Okay, let's look at default parameter. Default parameter. Now, sometimes there may be some scenario whereby when you are calling on a function, although it's a parameterized function, you may choose not to put any arguments here. I can't make it. So when you are calling on a function, you may choose not to put any arguments here. So when you click on this third button, let me call it start. When you click on this third one, nothing will be sent to this. So the value of none will be undefined. And the value of var, this var will also be undefined. Maybe you don't want that to happen. You can now set a default value to this. So what this means is whenever you are not sending any value to num, let the value be 1. And whenever you are not sending any value to var, let the value be 1 also. So when you click on this one will be sent as the value of this, but 8 will be sent as the value of this. When you click on this second one, 2 will be sent as the value of this, and 6 will be sent as the value of this. Now, when you click on this, since you are not sending any value, the value of none will be 1, and the value of var will also be 1. I can't make it. When you are not sending any, that's when it will use this. But when you are sending, it won't. Let me show us another example. So let's assume I put 7 here. So I'm only sending 1. I'm only sending 7 to num, but I'm not setting any value for var. So if I click on this last one, let me call it false. When I click on this last one, this 7 will be sent as the value of num, but since I'm not sending any value to var, it will use 1. So this is going to alert 7 times 1. So this will alert 7 times 1. This will be 1 times 1 since I'm not sending any. Then this will be 6 times 2. Then this will be 1 times 8. So we've looked at default parameter in JavaScript. Any question before we round off today's class? In absence of question, we'll call it a day at this point. Tomorrow, we are going to look at if statements. We will look at if statements tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'll send the recordings to us.